see if this will work. Not that one. That one. It says it's happening. Let's see if we can activate this. Good afternoon, whoever is watching. Lovely. Jan or Sarah, could you share it to my page, please? Because Facebook is not letting me do so, which is a pain in the proverbial, but there we are. I trust everyone is well on this beautiful, beautiful day. Hi Christina, thank you for watching from the US. What are you on, the east or the west coast? Hopefully the east, because it's a better time for you. Hi Jan, hi Sue, hi Regine. I hope that's your first name, my darling. Thanks Jan. I know it's Facebook's being a slightly different problem. Oh, when did I lose a chunk of that pair of scissors? Well, that's an interesting concept, isn't it? So there we are. Cool. Where are we going to? Oh, I'll put my brain into gear. Why not? So I have a wooden board here. It is a proper wooden board. I've not cut the back, but that's absolutely fine. It's got a shaped edge, so I have a beveled edge, so I've painted that black, and I've primed the top. So for the black I used black gesso, and for the white I've used the acrylic primer. Cool. Let's just tuck those out of the way, and let's find a brush, because that's always helpful, isn't it? So we're going to start by adding rice paper onto this. Hello Connie, welcome my darling. Welcome. So let's just add a layer of this. I can touch up the black and the later on, that's absolutely fine. So the acrylic primer would have sealed this, so hopefully I don't need as much glue, but hey ho, if we do. Don't want that on there because that's going to stick my rice paper down where we don't want it. So let's just grab a white from behind me. There we are, let's get rid of that. And let's just add a layer of this onto here. I could have left some masking tape on here, I guess, but yeah, that's just life. Let's just pop that onto there. There we are. So this is Pentart's Decoupage Glue and Varnish in the matte version, which is my go-to, but obviously you could use the shiny if that's the look you prefer. I tend to leave shiny for top coats, and but it really doesn't matter. It's about preference as much as anything else. There we are. I don't want too many big globs there, but let's just smooth that out a little bit. There we are. We've got some bit. Thank you, Sarah. Much appreciated. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the book of the face. Let's just make sure that that is, yeah, that looks like it's going to be in line. So that's always a good start. And now I'm going to take off and have a look at that end. Yeah, I think we're going to be okay. And I can trim off that edge. Actually, let's just lift that, oops, and move it over just a tad. There we are, that's going to be better. Yeah, that's definitely better. Cool, so let's just get this glued into place. I think it depends on where you go live from, or what you're watching on. Certainly I've been having to pick up when I go live from other people and then share it, or share the links afterwards. Anyway, who knows with the book of the face, it sometimes does its own thing, doesn't it? There we are. Let's just get this onto here, and let's just give this a goodly coat, and we can get this glued in place. We're not going full on stupidly mixed media today, but we're going more basic decoupage, but we're going to hopefully have a nice nice afternoon. So this is a Decoupage Queen rice paper, which the lovely Teresa Rennie, who is a very talented American who owns Decoupage Queen, painted the bird, and then she has a whole collection of vintage elements, that are papers, pages, things, and then she layers the elements together to create her own rice paper, so her own company. And this is one from the spring release in these colours. There are some recently released autumn colours. Let's just smooth out that line. I think there's a little bit of a crease going on down there. There we are. Hopefully that will be that. So we can pop that on there. Hi Sarah, welcome my darling, welcome. Let's just give that a wee bit of a brush dry, because we need to get the edges off, and we know what happens when we're not patient around getting edges off. We make a mess, so sometimes that will work and sometimes it most definitely does not work. So I trust that everyone is well today, and I'm going to need to add a little bit more glue just into that corner. We always add more glue as we need to, that's not a problem, but let's just get these edges dry. We're actually going to need the whole thing dry, but okay. It is Edie, a very pretty paper. Miss Edie comes to us via the US, which is lovely. I'm not hoping that word is straight. I think we might not be completely straight at this end, but I hope. I think it will be fine ultimately. So let's just get this glued down. Nicely glued. It shouldn't take a ridiculous amount of time for stuff to dry in the heat in my conservatory, which is always lovely. But I do need to have this dry for several steps that we're going to take along the way. And I always am about when I'm doing projects quite what's the best thing to do and how much drying we need. But at the end of the day, there really isn't much we can do without having some drying. And this project is definitely one which, if I wasn't doing it on a live, I'd do a little bit and then I'd walk away, and then I'd come back and do another layer and walk away. But you know, that's what's required. It still feels damp, so let me get this all dried as much as possible, because otherwise the next layers aren't going to work brilliantly. Anyway, so yeah, it's worth taking the time to do things properly, I think. Let's get this edge still feels tacky. Do that, let it have somewhere out on the surface. I will have, let's see if that one's going to, it might not be dry enough, but we'll see. We will see. Nice clean edges. We might have a little bit of lift going on just underneath there. We'll soon find out. Hello Sheila, welcome my darling. And if we have, we can glue down afterwards anyway. So let's just take this and find a reasonably sharp piece of be an interesting manoeuvre, I think. But there we are, we will get there eventually. sure we didn't have glue. Maybe we did have glue on that bit. No, we didn't. So there we are. We will just, let's swap. Let us swap to something that might do a little bit faster. Normally I would not scrabble like this, but it's, I think owing to the nature of the side of this piece, it's going to be easier to do that. So that's fine. There we are. As I say, I wouldn't normally recommend a scruffle along that technique quite like that, but it is working on this, and it's because I can't pick it up in the way that I would normally do so. And I'm going to repaint those edges anyway, so that's okay. I can cope with that. Let's just take off as much of that extra as we can. As I say, we'll repaint those edges anyway. So there we are, because we're clearly going to have to. There we are. Okay. This is because we've got that step down that's making life slightly difficult. But we'll get there. We will get there. There we are. We just need to be patient. As we all know, that's not my middle name. There we are. I can just see a little bit there that's gone and buffered. Hello, Kay. So let's just pop that onto there. Hi, Joe. Let's just patch that area up there. Probably won't matter because of what's going up there, but there we are. There we are. Let's just patch it in. No one will be any the wiser. Yeah, get rid of that. Get rid of that. Let's just have a little neaten up of that furry edge. So there we are. Let's just take that. There we are. And then let's just carry on. Hello. Okay, thank you. Right. Okay. So we just have to be patient. We'll get there eventually. Sorry about the bouncing noise, it's all very unpleasant, isn't it? There we are. Let's just got a little extra bit here that I definitely don't want on there. And this is purely because of the angled nature of this frame that we're struggling. Hello, Sarah Dawn. Welcome, my darling. Welcome, welcome. As I say, normally I would swipe down rather than doing this, but yeah, excuse me, snotty nose that I have. mental note to myself, don't make life difficult by having a beveled edge. But hey ho, it'll be worth it. It will be worth it. I'm going to re-black those edges, so that's okay. We can do that. Some of this will be where I got blue over the side, but that's also okay. So we'll be able to neaten those edges, ultimately, anyway. Yeah. Hey, we're getting there. I like it when a plan sort of comes together. Don't ask me where I've got blue from over there, but hey ho. Then we're going to have dust everywhere, just to be a real pain in the proverbial, but hey ho. You will have a nice neat edge at the end of the day. I promise you, it will be worth it. There we go. Okay. So now, let's just this has a beveled edge, we can pop that into there and we can neaten up those edges. Right, let's just wipe off all of that dust. We will be re-blacking those edges anyway. So there we are. So we now have our piece of rice paper onto there, and hopefully most of that sorted out. So let's just pop that over there. I'm just going to give this a blast dry. Yeah. Because it needs to have a blast dry on the top. Because I'm going to use that dreaded fine line crackle. It's a beautiful rice paper. The birdie is lovely, and we're going to keep this relatively simple today, because I think the rice paper just says it all really. We are okay. Still feels a bit damp there, so let me just give this a dry. Excuse me while I sneeze, because that's always a good move, isn't it? Right, so fine line crackle gives a beautiful perhaps porcelain type effect or old painting type effect, and I could have gone for classic crackle, but I'm thinking I much prefer the finer line, and I think it. There we are. So that is now dry. She says, with an atmosphere full. So the fine line crackle comes in two parts. There we are. Step 1, which is white, and step 2, which is yellow. It gives an antique effect. And the key for this project or this paper is always to have everything dry. Okay, so although this is a water-based product, so you can pop your brushes in the wash, it does not like water. In fact, if you put water near the top, the layers at the top layers as you go, then actually what will happen is ultimately you will wipe off your crackle having left it to dry. So you just need to be aware of the rules. Once you know the rules, it's actually really quite easy to do. Yeah. And much as I would tend to prefer to leave things to dry naturally, this crackle will dry, will cope with being heat dried, which means that we can use it on alive. We'll leave it to do a little bit of its magic on its own, but definitely, oh, don't want that lump. There we are. So you just need a layer of the medium all over the surface that you want to crackle. If you don't put the primer on, then it won't crackle, so just be aware of that. So yeah, and I have mine in big pots, but you can buy much smaller pots, and the 100ml is probably enough for most people, unless you're going to be doing masses and masses and masses. Yeah, Martin Parker commented on my loved heat tool, so I got a new one, which was quiet, and it blew up. So I bought a new one of the quiet ones a while ago, and that too blew up. So I went back to my old faithful that has stood the test of time. Doesn't really matter what way you put these on, so don't worry about that. There we are. So I think I've probably got, and I can see that this is already beginning to dry, so that can go there, that can go there. We're just going to stick that on the floor. As I say, we're keeping these relatively straightforward today. Yeah, there was an ice cream van there, so let's keep that brush intentionally for my second step with the fine line brush. So I want these to be black. So these are mouldable wood pieces from Woodubend, but you could just as easily cast corners, filigree corners from any mould and use those. So just, yeah, I've got these, I think, from when Anna Hersom was still doing her stuff. I know she's gone back recently to doing things, but here we are. So I'm just using up all my effort to behave, she says, using up stuff that I've got. So if you haven't got, but you've got a filigree mould, then use that, because why wouldn't you? There we are. This might, I did think it through. I just decided that this was what I wanted to make today. Coming up with something that's different is somewhat of a challenge, really. There we are. Hello, Anna. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's just get rid of some of that. So these are mouldable, and that I'm going to take use of the fact that I can heat mould these. Ultimately, one of them I broke and I've already glued back together, and if you try manipulating them when they are cold, they are very brittle and they absolutely will break. So but they will equally glue back together again. So I don't know how they're made. I think they're a wood pulp in some form of elasticy, resiny mix. There we are. That's one. Hopefully we've got everything covered there. Be moderately careful there. That is where I know I've got it, glued together, but that's also fine. There we are. It wouldn't be a make for me if we didn't have some form of mould to sort out, would it? Really, it just wouldn't. There we are. So what's everyone's plans? No way I'll behave. Wow. No, that's probably true. To be fair, Julie, to be fair, you're probably right. I can see where that's just wobbling, where that repair is. I just need to be a little bit ginger there. Let's just hold it. I'd say if it comes apart, it won't matter. We can always glue it back together again. There we are. Cool. I'm a headache. So I'm using a black gesso primer paste. You could just as easily have painted these with black acrylic paint. Yeah, that would work just as well. But the primer paste is for the purposes of the way it's going to be used long term, is going to work just fine for me. And we might need to get that dreaded heat gun out again in a minute, but hey ho. But that's just fine. There we are. Have I got everything? I can guarantee if I don't, when I put it down, when I pick it up to do the next step, I'll find somewhere that I haven't managed to get, because that's just what happens, isn't it? It is just what happens. So who's sad about the information from 2 MDF suppliers that has been published by both of them? So I think it's fair to say what's going on. Right, let me just pop that over there, pop that over there. And fine. Oh, that's what I've done with them. Let's see, there we are. We'll just pop that over there, clear off the gut. Yeah. Ice cream is very good for your bones. It's full of calcium. Not much vitamin D in it, but definitely full of calcium. Vitamin D tablet each day. Current NHS recommendations for every person in the UK, purely because we factor 50 when we go outside, and actually even with when we've got a wet time, we don't get that much natural sun, and 2-week holiday abroad is not enough sun exposure to make up for 52 weeks of minimal sun exposure. So I'd rather take some vitamin D every day than end up with skin cancer. So there we are. It's the price to be paid from so-called progress. There we are. The ice cream, I live at the bottom of a cul-de-sac. It's interesting. Let me just dip black glue whilst the going is good. Sneaky peek. That's from another project that's finished, and that will get published eventually. Right, let's just pop that. Is that lidded properly? Yes, that's now. Well, I'm hoping what it means is that they'll do much more online, a few more lives, a bit more self-promotion, and that we can still have the choice by going directly to their websites, although at least one of them needs to do something about their website, because it's the engine they're using is flipping diabolical. I can never find what I want on it, but hey ho, and we'll wait and see what goes on. Right, excellent. So I need to do a little bit of drying globally of all of this little lot, so let's just move those down. Black gets everywhere, doesn't it? And I will need to tidy up the edges of this piece, so let's just do a little bit of drying. Now, obviously you need to be careful when you're force drying things that you don't double your mediums, and I can already see an area on the black piece that I've missed. There we are. But hey ho. So the key to speed drying is to keep your heat gun moving, rather than it all being in one area, because that's when it's much more likely to bubble. So we'll just get these, we just need to get them dry. And because I'm feeling like being a little devil, anyone got any guesses or suggestions as to who else might be leaving? I've no idea. I'm not saying anything. I have no inside knowledge as to what's going on, or for any company as to what their decision making processes might be. But there's almost no small companies left yet, I think. I can think of a couple. I do think quite a lot of companies are moving to do more and more online, with online launches, instead of having to, you know, but television certainly gives people you know, good coverage and good advertising over quite a wide area. So we can see that this is beginning to clear eventually. Some of those pieces are not quite dry, but that's fine. We're going to just do some tidy up now before I do anything else, because I can see that there are areas that still need a little bit of a tidy up with what we're doing. Let me just move my comments on here. Okay, so so this will allow me to pick up the areas that I missed. It's always easy to miss when you're painting black, because by the time you've got shiny wet paint, you definitely, it shines, and then you don't see where you've missed until you've dried it. There we are. So let's just double check this one. Not bad at all. So let's just pop those over there, and let's see how much of a steady hand I can have with this without masking it. There we are. We'll not have masses of paint on there, but this will definitely help the tidy up process. A little bit on the top won't matter because we've got black in that paper. There we are. So I'm just going to go around, and then we'll take another bob of the heat gun to it. There we are. That's better. Oh, good. Right, that hasn't seemed to upset anything. That's always positive. There we are. Oh, well, that really wasn't intelligent, was it? That's definitely not where I wanted that to go. There we are. Right, and I'm aware that that might well, because that was a wet baby wipe, mess up the crackle there, but I'll worry about that. So off live I would probably just wait for it all to dry and then mask it back off. Yeah, but we all have oops moments, darling, and it's important that we work out how to follow, how to correct them, because if everything was always perfect, A, you'd never learn, and B, it's a good opportunity, isn't it, I think, to explain things to people. So there we are. As is reasonably user friendly is this, because there's black in the rice paper, so a little bit of black on the edges isn't going to matter too much. We can always blend that in. Excellent. So that's now looking a little bit more respectable. So let's just take these. Let's de-yuck the fingers again. She wants to get the next layer on this piece, so there is only one way around doing this. She says, let's just move those so I don't go sliding or falling on the floor. So I know it hurts when you fall on the conservatory tile floor, and you end up breaking a bone, which is definitely not a good idea. So this is beginning to clear. I can see that it is. Just need to be patient. But also by doing this on my foot is definitely, I'm going to go back swimming tomorrow, which is cool. Let's just rid that gesso before it gets too dry with this weather. We're getting there, I think, aren't we? I can still see quite a lot more areas that are still milky compared to the TV, yeah, the screen at the moment, but we are definitely getting there. So Sarah, who else are you going to be watching today? Has anyone else got any live this evening that I've missed? I know there's at least one going on at the moment. Oh dear Sarah, do be careful, you don't want another break at all, that would not be good. We are getting there, slowly. So this, the step 1 is shiny when it's dry, but is completely clear. So I just need the murky areas to go before I can add my step 2 over the top. And as I might well make a series of these with some different effects around the frames, I definitely want this to work because there are some more birds in the series. And I'm thinking that a set of them will look rather nice in my newly decorated hall. That would be lovely, I think, wouldn't it? She's had a bit of a busy week, and next week doesn't look any quieter for her either. If I don't get this much dry, then we're going to have to, and I just move on to the next step, which I could do. We'll be then waiting ages for step 2 to dry, so it doesn't take as long as step 1, to be fair. So for you it might, there's still a couple of areas that look milky, so for you, we are definitely getting there. But also, by doing it this way, at least you have an idea as to how long something might take you if you're going to sit around to do something like this and you're needing to plan your time. So I would just, normally I would just walk away from this, go and have a cup of tea, wash the pots, do all the things that we have to do. I managed to get a bubble there, so it was a pain in the proverbial, but there you go. She does it, thank you Deborah, for a good reminder. Yes, she normally goes live about 7, doesn't she? I think Liz, who normally goes live at 5, isn't going live today. I think she said that she was having a break for August. There's a big splodge just up here where my finger is. It just needs to dry a bit, and another one there, but we are getting there. We're definitely getting there. better. It will be worth it, honestly. Well, hi Lorraine, welcome. It's a beautiful bird, Betty. It's one of Decoupage Queen, so you should be able to get it very easily in the United States and the UK. Just a little bit harder. And I'm not, but you know, this is a technique-based project, so that you could, you know, and you could do this same sort of thing with any image. I mean, this is very definitely a whole image piece of paper that I don't wish to tear and break up. You could take pieces out of it if that's what you wanted to do, but that piece is being distinctly stubborn. Distinctly stubborn, and there's another stubborn bit there. Just a little bit there. Okay. Well, I knew that there's going to be some bits of drying to do. You just have to be patient. You just have to be patient. Just give these that little bit of a chance to cool down. We are getting there. We are getting there. And don't, you know, I know that I'm impatient, but really it's not worth being impatient. You're definitely better off just taking your time. If people are fed up, they can always come back, you know, and bored, they can always come back and catch up on rewind and fast forward through the drying bits. This isn't a complicated technique in any way, shape or form. Just you'll see it, can't you? There we are just that one area. And there we are, we have bubbled it, so that was not clever. There we are. Cool. So let's just let that cool down a little bit now. Not that flapping my hand's going to do very much for it, is it? There we are. But that is now dry. So that will do. That will do. So step 2, you surely does. It surely does. And yes, you're right. It is. And as I was gifted these, the whole set of these, I don't wish to make a mess of it. So this is the step 2 of the fine line crackle, and it is it's much thinner, and B, so it won't take as long to dry, which is good. I do want an evenish layer over here. I do want to make sure I've got it over the whole thing. I've certainly seen some people massage things into the surfaces as well. I've never felt the need to do that, but it's one way of making sure you've got coverage over everything, I suppose. Should, with a bit of luck. then have, because it's shiny, you can then see where you've missed areas. I think that will do. And that was a completely dry brush. So that can sit down there. I can't face putting that on, so there we are. So we're not going to cook out my feet from there. What am I using on? Betty, it's the fine line primer, crackle, this one. So part 1 was the white that I spent ages drying until it was clear, and then part 2 is the fine line, and this is the one where you absolutely have to use a completely dry brush. Just don't be tempted to wash them. Give them a tap on a kitchen towel and consider that dry, because it won't be dry enough. You definitely want it properly dry. So this is Pentart's Pigment Fix, which is why I might be better off mixing this in different batches, purely because once it will set quite quickly. Today we are going to add this around the rest of the frame as well. So there are collections of metal pigments. This is the champagne. So and you can make this as thick or as thin as you want. It's almost like a white gold. It's not really white gold, but it's definitely a very soft, pretty colour. So you can add pigment to this. You can make it thicker. You can make it into a paste if that's what you want to do. Once it's mixed, so you have to use it all up. There we are. See the white undertone in that. I'm just going to add just a little bit more into there, and of course you can custom mix them. So there's a copper, a gold, an antique gold, a rose gold, champagne. I think there's also a white gold. So yeah, just you can not constrained by the shades that they do. There's lots of different colours. There we are. Good. So the metals definitely go on better onto, this is the one I broke, so it's a bit wobbly, but that's fine. Look, I can actually see where it was broken, but oh yes, I can. There we are. Let me just support where that break is. And these are permanent once they're dry, so yeah, definitely don't mix up more than you need, because you'll be hunting around to find other surfaces to work on rather than wasting stuff, because we're all guilty of not wanting to waste product, aren't we? There we are. And I can always mix up some more. I'd rather mix up more than waste. And I always, I tend to decant with a pipette. My pigment fix is easier than gunking the bottle up. There we are. It is a lovely, lovely metallic, and sometimes metallics can be a bit garish. I'm definitely not a mirror finish, mirror girl. I definitely, but I do like to use metallics. There we are. and like most, you could, you know, you could paint this directly onto the bare wood, I think, but you wouldn't get the same density of colour. Metallics definitely always seem to work better when they've gone onto a black surface. Oh, she says. Okay, let's just pop that over there. Pop that in there. I'm just gonna wipe my hands and my wrists and pick up, because we're going to have to do some of that dreaded drying again, and I'm going to want another smaller brush at this point. Yeah. Right, so let's just take some of this . And then let's just pop this nicely round the edge. I've got an angled brush, which is going to making my life a little bit easier, because it's allowing me to pop this where I want it, right up to that edge. I'm not worried if I get a little bit on the there. I'm going to end up taking a heat gun to everything shortly anyway. I can see an area that needs a little bit more over there. Like that. You can use them with the luscious styling if that's what you want to do. They will work with any pigment. So I quite often, yeah, the luscious are essentially a form of mica powder. So yeah, these will work perfectly well with the luscious. Converting them into a paint. Indigo blues already have a fixative in them, I think, so that means that you might not need it. There we are. And I can always come back and add a second layer if I want to. There we are. Cool. So let's just pop that into there. Right. Don't really want to pop that down there. So now we have some more drying to do. There we are. I think so. And again, this is another one where if you walk away from it, then it's probably better. But it doesn't matter, you can heat dry it. Again, just keep your heat gun moving so that not one area gets sort of cooked and burnt. And when it looks dry, and that's difficult because it's shiny. You need to just carry on and be patient. If you ever come to fine line that's dried overnight and you can't see any crackles, just take your heat gun to it and heat it up for a little bit, and you'll find that the crackles will appear quite happily if you're just patient. And I often go through a stage when I'm doing this on a live where I think it's not worked. Before it actually crackles appear. And they're definitely fine, so you won't necessarily see them before I put anything into them. And so it often takes a bit longer than you think. It's a question of holding your nerve and just waiting. Once they start to appear, it'll go quite quickly. Nothing like waiting for paint to dry, is there? Really isn't. Or in this case, crackle medium to dry. Whereas the one component and the crackling paste are, if you see it happening in front of your eyes really quickly, the fine line definitely is a much slower process. And don't be tempted to put your fingers in it, because you'll end up, if it's not properly dry, with finger marks and fingerprints, and they will catch all of the texture, the paste that I'm going to put on to identify the crackles. So definitely not done yet. So you watch, this will be the first time I have a failure. And then, as I say, I've never had it fail yet, so and this isn't going to fail because I can now begin to see cracks appearing. I think you won't be able to yet, but I can definitely. Just got some cracks appearing in this area here. And this is what I mean by, I get to the stage where I think I was going to have a failure, and then you just have to take it on and trust the process and wait. And even after I fill the cracks, this will carry on from the live. This will carry on cracking, and I can add some more paste in tomorrow. You can fill into the cracks at any point you want, up until you've sealed your whole project. Woo. We are beginning. We definitely have got cracks appearing. And the headache for this is it's a shiny surface, so that won't help. You see the cracks. We're beginning. Of course, the next thing that will happen is my heat gun will overheat, won't it, from having been left on for so long. Right, now then, I don't know whether you'll see the crackles. I can, and I know this is going to carry on cracking until after, until it's all set. That's absolutely fine, my darling. It's a catch-22, isn't it? Facebook tells you to go live in events, and then it won't let you when you share them. But there we are. So, there we are. So, I can see that this is... Thank you, Sarah. We'll sort it out. I think I will stop going live in events in future. So this is just some Umbra patina. So this is a petroleum based product that I'm now going to rub, and you really don't need masses and masses and masses and masses, but you do need to be able to squiggle it in. And I keep my brushes in some terps, so it helps thin it down, and that's fine. to put onto here. So there's an area down here that hasn't crackled, but I think it will do by tomorrow. It'll carry on, so I won't seal this today. Just going to have to be very careful with wiping those back. So I'll knock that back a little bit and we can carry on. So at this point you must not go near this with a wet baby wipe, because if you go anywhere near it with a baby wipe, you will lift everything off. So I know I put product there, so I'm assuming that that bit will crackle for itself. I'll lift this up. In fact, I'm just going to give it another little bit of a heat in the areas that haven't crackled, as well as I'd like them to. So I can now see where I need to have a little bit more drying, and hopefully that will. I'll lift it up to the screen in a minute. I can see there's just 2 or 3 areas where it really hasn't crackled very well. Yeah, I know I put plenty of product on those areas, so there's no reason why it shouldn't have done, and I suspect it will continue to crackle post finishing the live, because that's usually what happens. That's some more crackles. So there's just some areas like over here where my heat gun is now, where it really hasn't crackled very much, and another area here that has crackled. And that's beginning to crackle in that area that wasn't before. So there we are. So let's just add a bit more into there. There's a bit more to go into there. And we've got some more coming into there. There we are. Not perfect in that area, but definitely better than it was. And we'll just carry on. As I say, you can repeat this as often as you want until, if you don't seal it, it will definitely carry on crackling. So just be very much aware of that. So there we are. There we are. So that needs to be left now to dry and to continue to crackle. So if I lift this up to the camera, oh, where's my phone gone off? Let me see, because I can't see people's comments. Let me pop that on, and then I can see what's going on. There we are. There we are. So, yeah. So there's crackle down here. There's definitely crackle over the, there we are. You can see it nicely there. More crackle over that piece. So that is cool. So I am wanting to pop that onto there. So to get these on, because it's Woodubend, I'm going to heat this up. Because by heating it up, I'll be able to anchor it into place on here. Yeah, I like it when a plan comes together, Sarah. Right, so let's us just see, that's going to be a pain, isn't it? That's that area where I've broken it. So, oh, not that one. So I am going to use a wet glue, and I'm intentionally using this, she says, because it will anchor quicker. But I am going to have to be careful because I've got a piece that's not sealed. So let me just pop this onto here. Let's take a brush that I don't mind cream crackering, because it's already moderately cream crackered, and make sure I've got a layer of that everywhere. Good quality wood glue will work just as well. But there we are. See, I don't want all of that lurking around the edges. Hey ho, needs must. Needs must. Okay. So we'll not have a wet cloth in our hands. We will pick up our kitchen roll in a minute. That will dry clear. I can now push that, hold that, and manipulate that round, and just wait for it to grab. Yep. Okay. Well, I just think that the bird is so elegant in its own right, Betty, that this would work for me. There we are. So that's attached reasonably well into there. And if I heat that up, I can then push this down the bezel. There we are. We'll just hold that in place while it cools down. because it just needs to cool down into there. There we are, and that will work. And then put that over there. Okay, and let's just do the same with this. So, not that glue. So even though that fine line crackle is meant to be difficult or time consuming, I hope that I've shown that actually it isn't so difficult and it's not actually so time consuming, because we'll have done this whole piece in sub 2 hours, which is even better, isn't it? There we are. And the only thing I will need to do, ultimately, and I will do it, is I will let me just pop that up here, is seal this with some glossy solvent based varnish, and I'll show you that bottle in a minute when I've got this piece attached down. Absolutely, Deborah. There are only, as far as I'm aware, 2 companies that have a product that does this effect. It's not like any of the other crackles. So let's just hold that one, shape that one onto there. There we are. So paper towel, absolutely, rather than anything else. Squash that down. Use that to mop off the extra glue. Hold that in place now and just let it settle. So that can go in there, that can go in there. So here is our make for today. I do need just to be patient. I will glossy varnish this. I will almost certainly, when it's cooled down and tomorrow morning, add some more of the umbre into the spaces around here. It just needs to settle and go cool. And I think it proves that you don't always need to have masses and masses and masses of embellishments. I know I use a lot of moulded pieces, but actually sometimes less is very definitely more. And for me, these papers absolutely were one of those pieces. So let me just shovel that cream cracker brush into there. Pop that out of the way, pop that out of the way. Pop that out of the way. That can go into there. So, and for a change, I don't have too bad a war zone in front of me. So, ladies, this is our make for today. I hope that you've enjoyed it. Hope that you might have learned something from what we're up to. I will be live for Pentart next week, but on Wednesday, not Tuesday, because the Hungarians have a public holiday on Tuesday, so hence the different day. So hopefully I will see you online on Wednesday. Otherwise I will be back online next Sunday. So please keep safe with whatever you're up to this week, and remember to be kind to each other and to look out for everyone who may need a little bit of an extra lift this week. Bye.